Seneca once said, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare, but because we do not dare that they are difficult." This thought reflects the inner strength we have to shape our lives, even in the face of external challenges. Understanding this power helps us navigate the complexities of existence, where emotions often swirl like storms. So how do we find balance? In this video, we'll explore 7 lessons inspired by Stoic philosophy that can guide us in mastering our emotions and facing adversity with wisdom and calm. Before we dive in, consider liking this video to help spread the wisdom of Stoicism. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss any transformative content. Remember, live with purpose and virtue. Stick with us until the end to discover insights that could change your perspective. Now let's get into the video. Number 1. Recognize what is within your control. Have you ever felt paralyzed by unexpected situations, sudden changes, or disappointments that seem beyond your control? These moments of uncertainty can lead us into a cycle of frustration and anxiety. However, Stoic philosophy offers a practical and powerful approach to dealing with such challenges, distinguishing between what is within our reach and what is beyond our control. Imagine you've planned an outdoor trip with friends. Everything seemed perfect until dark clouds appeared on the horizon, and within moments, a heavy rain poured down. While you don't have the power to push the clouds away or stop the storm, you can choose how to react to the situation. You could lament the ruined day, or you could make the most of it, embracing the rain as something refreshing. The choice is yours, and it reflects the essence of Stoic control. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, said, "People are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them." This teaching invites us to look at external events more objectively, understanding that the emotional impact we feel is largely tied to our interpretation, not the event itself. So when we recognize what is within our control, our perceptions, choices, and actions, we free ourselves from the burden of trying to change what lies beyond our grasp. This approach doesn't mean resignation or passivity. On the contrary, it's about focusing on what truly matters and what we can influence. If you identify something within your reach, act with determination. If not, use the opportunity to practice acceptance and resilience. Asking yourself, "Do I have control over this?" is a simple but transformative exercise that can change the way you perceive the world. Throughout life, we will face countless storms, some expected, others completely unforeseen. Instead of fighting against winds we cannot control, we can adjust our sails and choose how to navigate. This adjustment requires practice and reflection, but the benefits are immense. It reduces stress, increases mental clarity, and allows us to live with greater serenity. After all, true freedom lies not in shaping the world to our will, but in shaping ourselves to live well in the world as it is. Practice this lesson daily. Accept what cannot be changed, value what is within your reach, and choose to act with purpose. Over time, you'll realize that life's storms aren't as frightening as they seem when we navigate them with wisdom and balance. Number 2, take a pause before reacting. In a world that values quick responses and instant decisions, reflection has become an almost forgotten skill. Yet, it is one of the foundations for cultivating balance and wisdom in our actions. When confronted with situations that trigger intense emotions, such as an unexpected criticism or a message that throws us off balance, our instinctive reaction often exacerbates the problem rather than resolving it. What if, instead of reacting immediately, you took a moment to breathe and reflect? This pause is not a sign of weakness or uncertainty, but of strength and self-control. It gives us the opportunity to better understand what we are feeling and why. Seneca, one of the greatest advocates of Stoicism, once said, "It is part of the cure, the desire to be cured." In this context, the pause is the first step in dealing with emotions constructively, allowing us to examine their roots and choose our response with greater wisdom. When you feel anger or frustration rising, ask yourself, why does this affect me? Is there something truly significant here? Or am I reacting based on past experiences or unmet expectations? This simple introspection can diffuse internal and external conflicts before they become uncontrollable. By exploring the reasons behind our emotions, we can turn them into tools for promoting empathy and growth, rather than sources of impulsiveness and regret. This practice doesn't mean repressing what we feel. On the contrary, it's an invitation to understand emotions and use them in ways that benefit both ourselves and others. The patience cultivated in this process reflects emotional maturity and enhances our ability to create more harmonious interactions. Responding to a critical comment with calmness and consideration, for example, can diffuse an argument and open the space for a more productive and respectful dialogue. Pausing before reacting is a skill that can be developed and strengthened over time. Small daily exercises, like counting to 10 before responding to something that bothered you, or reflecting on a situation before acting, can make a significant difference in how we handle challenges. By practicing this pause, you will find that not only do your interactions become more balanced, but your emotional well-being also strengthens. In the end, reflecting before acting is not just about avoiding unnecessary conflicts, but about living with more clarity and purpose. By adopting this habit, you'll be creating a space between stimulus and response, a space where your freedom to choose resides. Number 3, practice emotional detachment. Life often places us in situations charged with intense emotions. A disagreement with a friend, criticism at work, or frustration in the face of events beyond our control. In these moments, our natural tendency might be to dive headfirst into the emotional whirlwind, allowing feelings such as anger, sadness, or anxiety to guide us. But what if, instead of being swept away by these waves, we learn to observe them from a safe position, like a sailor analyzing the sea before adjusting their sails? This concept of emotional detachment is not an endorsement of apathy or indifference. On the contrary, it is about cultivating the ability to observe our emotions without allowing them to control us. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, said, "It's not things that upset us, but our judgments about them." When we practice emotional detachment, we are able to examine these judgments and consciously decide how to respond. Imagine watching an emotional movie. You feel immersed in the plot, experiencing tension, joy, or sadness. But you know deep down that it is just a story. Similarly, emotional detachment allows us to approach life situations with this perspective, acknowledging the intensity of our emotions, but not letting them define us. This practice is especially useful in conflicts and misunderstandings. Instead of reacting impulsively to an unpleasant comment, we can create a space to reflect. What is really happening here? Why does this bother me so much? This space between stimulus and response, as Viktor Frankl pointed out, is where our freedom and power of choice reside. To begin developing emotional detachment, it is essential to identify your triggers, those situations or words that typically provoke intense reactions. Recognizing them is the first step in neutralizing their influence. Then, create the habit of pausing before reacting. Take a deep breath. Analyze the situation as if you were an external observer and ask yourself, how can I handle this constructively? Practicing emotional detachment also helps us cope with loss and change. Stoic philosophy suggests that we view everything in life as borrowed. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." This teaching invites us to embrace the present without clinging destructively to what we cannot control. Moreover, emotional detachment does not mean suppressing feelings. On the contrary, it is a way of recognizing them without being consumed by them. Facing emotions like sadness or anger with acceptance and curiosity allows us to learn from them, rather than becoming victims of their consequences. With time and practice, this skill becomes a powerful tool for living with more balance. Situations that once seemed unbearable begin to be seen as manageable challenges. And as both spectators and participants in this play called life, we learn to perform our roles with wisdom, maintaining serenity even in the face of adversity. Number 4. Ask, will this matter in the future? The human mind has a natural tendency to amplify small problems, turning passing situations into unnecessary sources of stress and anxiety. A delay in traffic, criticism at work, or a trivial misunderstanding can, in a moment of impulsivity, seem like matters of life or death. However, a simple question can help us regain perspective. Will this matter in 5 years? This mental exercise, inspired by Stoic philosophy, is a powerful tool to separate the essential from the trivial. Seneca, in his letters, advised, "We often suffer more in imagination than in reality." When we ask if something will be relevant in the future, we are training our minds to focus on what truly matters and discard concerns that over time prove to be insignificant. Think about the problems you faced 5 years ago. How many of them still impact your life today? Perhaps that project that seemed urgent, that misunderstanding with a colleague, or even a decision that caused doubts no longer hold any weight in your daily routine. This exercise of retrospective reflection is a practical way to understand that time relativizes almost everything. Furthermore, this approach helps us cope with moments of crisis. Imagine you missed a flight due to a delay. The initial stress may be overwhelming, but by considering the long term, we realize that this situation is just a bump in the road, not an insurmountable barrier. As Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make of it." The practice of evaluating the importance of something in the future also helps us redirect our energy. Often, we spend our emotional and mental resources on fleeting matters, neglecting what truly deserves our attention, such as our relationships, health, and long-term goals. By identifying what is transient, we can invest time and effort in something that holds lasting value. This exercise does not mean ignoring problems or avoiding them, but approaching them with balance and clarity. When something feels overwhelming, pause and ask yourself, what is the real magnitude of this in my life? Am I magnifying its importance disproportionately? These simple questions can transform your perspective and help you face challenges with more serenity and purpose. Finally, remember that this practice can be applied not only to problems, but also to decisions. When pondering something, consider its long-term impact. This will help you distinguish between choices that bring fleeting satisfaction and those that create lasting value. By cultivating this mindset, you will gain the ability to face adversity with resilience and avoid letting fleeting concerns drain your energy. As a result, your life will be guided by clear priorities and a deeper sense of purpose. After all, the question, will this matter in the future? Not only gives us perspective, but also helps us build a more conscious and meaningful path. Number 5. Record your thoughts. The practice of recording thoughts in a journal has transcended generations as a powerful tool for introspection and personal growth. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, is a classic example of how this approach can be transformative. In his Meditations, he recorded reflections on virtues, challenges, and the role of the individual in the grand scheme of the universe. These notes were not made for others, but for himself, a way to converse with his mind and seek clarity amidst the pressures of life. In modern times, the practice of keeping a journal remains a practical and accessible way to reflect on our emotions, decisions, and daily lessons. More than just a record of events, the journal becomes a mirror for our mind, where we can observe behavioral patterns, recognize our achievements, and identify areas where we can improve. Writing helps organize internal chaos. Thoughts that are often confusing become clearer when put on paper. Ask yourself, what am I really feeling? Why does this affect me this way? By externalizing these reflections, we gain a more objective perspective on our problems and emotions. Over time, it becomes possible to identify recurring patterns in your thoughts and behaviors. You might notice that you often worry about things outside of your control, or that you have more intense emotional reactions in certain situations. Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward changing them. A journal is a space to explore who you are. What decisions did you make today? Are they aligned with your values? As Socrates said, an unexamined life is not worth living. Daily journaling allows us to conduct this examination in a structured way. Often we are so focused on what we still need to achieve that we forget to celebrate the progress we've already made. Revisiting your entries can be a way to reconnect with moments of victory and remind yourself of your ability to overcome challenges. There are no strict rules for journaling, but some guidelines can make the process more productive. Be consistent. Dedicate a few minutes each day to write. It could be in the morning, to plan your day, or at night, to reflect on what happened. Write without judgment. Don't worry about grammar or style. The important thing is to be honest with yourself. Use questions as a guide. Try starting with questions like, what made me happy today? What was challenging? What did I learn? Review periodically. From time to time, read your previous entries. This can reveal how much you've evolved and strengthen your sense of purpose. You don't need sophisticated tools to start. A regular notebook or even a note-taking app on your phone can suffice. The value lies in the habit, in dedicating regular moments to dialogue with yourself. Just as Marcus Aurelius used his meditations to seek moral guidance, you can use your journal to align your actions with your values. This simple practice can be the key to navigating life's challenges with more wisdom and self-understanding. After all, by recording your thoughts, you not only document your journey, but also build a roadmap for a more conscious and intentional future. Number 6. Find opportunities in challenges. In the journey of life, challenges and obstacles inevitably arise, often in unexpected ways. However, how we choose to view these adversities can determine the quality of our experience and our personal growth. As Friedrich Nietzsche said, "What does not kill us makes us stronger." This phrase encapsulates the idea that difficulties, far from being mere sources of suffering, can transform into sources of learning and development. Stoicism, a philosophy that delved into how to deal with adversities, suggests that obstacles are disguised opportunities. For Stoics, like Epictetus and Seneca, each challenge offers a chance to practice virtue, test our resilience, and improve our ability to maintain serenity in the face of difficulties. Deep down, they believe that the control we have over our lives is not in what happens to us, but in how we react to it. The first step in finding opportunities and challenges is changing the way we see difficulties. When something goes wrong, it's natural for the first reaction to be frustration. However, if we can take a step back and ask, what can this teach me? Or, how can I grow from this? We are immediately shifting our mindset. For example, if we lose a job opportunity, instead of lamenting, we can reflect on what was lacking in securing that position and how this prepares us better for future possibilities. Every obstacle we face is an opportunity to strengthen our resilience. Life is not made of constant victories, but of ups and downs, and our ability to rise after setbacks is what defines us. When faced with difficulties, we can choose between being downcast or finding ways to move forward with greater strength and determination. As the Greek philosopher Seneca said, adversity reveals genius, prosperity hides it. In times of crisis, we are tested, and it is often in difficulties that we find our true capacity to overcome. In a world that constantly demands evolution, challenges are fertile ground for continuous learning. When we overcome a difficulty, we not only learn to deal with that specific problem, but also acquire skills and insights that make us more prepared for the future. Imagine that after a failure, instead of giving up, you analyze what went wrong, adjust the strategy, and try again. This process not only improves the chances of success in the future, but also shapes your mindset to see each mistake as a stepping stone to success. The philosopher Confucius once said, "Our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our greatest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure." By embracing challenges, we discover that we are more capable than we imagined. Sometimes adversity forces us to think differently. When traditional solutions don't work, we are forced to find new ways to tackle problems. Crisis often acts as a catalyst for innovation. Remember how great inventions or revolutions occurred during times of great difficulty. When we face a crisis, we may be led to rethink our approaches, adopt new technologies, or follow unexplored paths that we would otherwise never consider. To apply this mindset of seeing opportunities and challenges, the practice of reflection is key. When an obstacle arises, take a pause and think, what is the lesson behind this difficulty? How does this prepare me for the future? The answer may not be immediate, but over time, this practice of reinterpreting adversities becomes a habit. Moreover, it is essential to cultivate patience. Results are not always visible in the short term. Sometimes the benefits of a challenge only reveal themselves after a long period of reflection and action. By staying calm and focused, and by looking for the teachings behind each obstacle, our journey becomes richer and more meaningful. The Stoic mindset of finding value in adversities teaches us that we should not fear challenges, but rather embrace them as opportunities for self-discovery. As the philosopher Epictetus said, "What troubles people are not things, but their opinions about things." Often, our own view of a challenge as something negative is what prevents us from seizing the opportunities it offers. Instead of fearing difficulties, we should learn to embrace them. As Nietzsche himself said, "The man who has no courage to be defeated will never know the taste of true victory." Difficulties are inevitable, but they are also an invitation to grow, innovate, and strengthen our minds. When we can see adversities as a training ground for our virtue and resilience, every challenge becomes an opportunity to become stronger and wiser. Therefore, the next time an obstacle arises, do not see it as a barrier, but as a chance to grow, learn, and strengthen your character. Life is full of disguised opportunities, and those who choose to see them this way are the ones who benefit most from the lessons destiny has to offer. Number 7. Cultivate gratitude. Amid the turmoil of daily life, it is easy to focus on what is missing or what is not going well. Worries and challenges often occupy our minds, making us forget the blessings and small victories we have already achieved. The practice of gratitude, however, is a powerful tool to change this perspective and reconnect us with what truly matters. Gratitude does not mean ignoring difficulties, but rather recognizing the value in the good things, no matter how simple they may be. As the Roman philosopher Seneca taught, gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the mother of all others. When we cultivate gratitude, we create a solid foundation upon which other virtues such as patience, resilience, and generosity can flourish. Often we are taught to focus on great achievements and victories, but it is in the small things of everyday life that we can find true happiness. A hot cup of coffee in the morning, a friend's smile, the warmth of a home. These everyday moments, when valued, transform our view of life. By focusing on what we have rather than what is lacking, we can find an inner peace that transcends difficulties. As we have discussed, challenges are not merely obstacles, but opportunities for growth. Gratitude can also be an important practice during these difficult times. When we face a crisis, we can choose to be thankful for the lessons it brings us, for the strength it helps us develop, and for the clarity it provides. This does not mean minimizing pain or suffering, but recognizing that even in life's storms, there is something to be learned. something to be grateful for. Like any virtue, gratitude needs to be cultivated. One effective way to do this is to establish a daily moment to reflect on the things you are grateful for. This can be done through a gratitude journal, where you write down 3 things you are grateful for every day. Studies show that this simple practice has a significant impact on our mental and emotional health, helping to reduce stress, increase well-being, and promote a more positive outlook on life. Gratitude also plays a fundamental role in our interpersonal relationships. When we express our gratitude to the people around us, whether with a sincere thank you for a favor or a gesture of affection, we strengthen bonds and promote human connection. This creates a positive cycle of reciprocity, where people feel appreciated and in turn become more likely to offer support and love. At its core, gratitude is a universal language that transcends barriers and brings people together. The practice of gratitude is particularly powerful when it comes to emotional resilience. By cultivating it, we develop the ability to keep our minds focused on the positive, even in times of adversity. Resilience is not only the ability to bounce back from setbacks, but also the capacity to find strength in the small victories of everyday life. As the Greek philosopher Epictetus said, "It is not what happens to us that affects us, but the way we choose to respond." Gratitude allows us to react to challenges in a more balanced way and with a more constructive mindset. Instead of being consumed by what we lack or what went wrong, gratitude helps us focus on what is within our reach, what we have already accomplished, and what we can do to move forward. One of the greatest benefits of gratitude is that it teaches us to live in the present. When we are grateful for something, our attention turns to the present moment, to what we have now. This allows us to experience life more fully without getting lost in worries about the past or the future. As the Buddhist philosopher Thich Nhat Hanh taught, gratitude is the shortest path to happiness. By practicing gratitude, we create space for joy, contentment, and inner peace. Gratitude is a simple but profound practice that can transform our lives in meaningful ways. When we adopt gratitude as part of our daily routine, we shift our perspective on what is important and what truly deserves our attention. By focusing on what we have rather than what we lack, we can experience a greater sense of peace and satisfaction. As Seneca reminds us, gratitude is the mother of all virtues, nurturing all others. By cultivating it, we are better able to handle adversity, improve our relationships, and above all, find more joy and purpose in our lives. I truly hope this material has helped you find greater clarity and serenity on your journey. If you found value in this, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. And feel free to share your thoughts in the comments, or simply write gratitude. Your participation means so much.